Olá pessoal, estou feliz que você tenha sintonizado o 4 episódio de The Pilgrim magazine vlog. It means, hey everyone, I'm glad you tuned in for the 4th episode of the Pilgrim magazine vlog. And I'm proud.
I am not your average journalist. I travel and I settle in each place. And in this vlog, I'll invite you into my life. I'll let you get to know me and the place I'm making stories about. I've always dreamt about having everything I own in one backpack and living on the road. I'm also as curious today as I was when I, as a child, for the first time discovered that I could actually ask questions. Where and what am I up to next?
It's soon going to be 2 months since I moved to Lisbon, and I'm slowly starting to feel at home here. I'm not constantly wanting to do and discover things. I'm rather balancing the exploring with some well-needed me home alone time without feeling like I'm missing out. I've learned a lot about Portugal and its history, which of course is important for me since what I'm doing here is trying to become a local in a very brief time. And I've learned that in 711, Lisbon was taken by Muslim forces. These conquerors, who were mostly Arabs from North Africa and the Middle East, built many mosques and houses, and I visited some, I'll show you soon, and rebuilt the city wall known as Sersa Mura, and established control while permitting the diverse population at the time to maintain their social cultural lifestyles. In the same era, Alfonso Henriques conquered the northern part of Portugal and became the first king of his land. But the country was still way too small for his taste because Portugal that he established only covered the northern part of what today is Portugal. So he thought, hey, there's more land in the south. However, to conquer those territories, he had to fight the Muslims who occupied them. And so he did. The Muslim influence, though, is still visible, present here in the Alfama district where I live. It's an old quarter of Lisbon that survived the 1755 Lisbon earthquake. Many place names comes from the Arabic, and Alfama comes from the Arabic El-Hemma. Anyway, after conquering the Muslims, Portugal's neighbor Spain kept poking their nose into Portuguese land, as many Portuguese like to refer to it. But you know, shortly after the Portuguese conquered or colonized the world, the Portuguese then allied up with England, and with their help, they set the borders of what today is Portugal. And at this point, they were now free to explore beyond seas and establish colonies all over the world, creating one of the biggest and longest lasting empires. So Spain tried to do the same thing, but that created competition for Portugal, so they shared the colonies between them. And shortly after this, Spain stabbed Portugal in the back and conquered Portugal as well. But with help from their longtime friends in England, the Portuguese reclaimed their independence only 6 years later. Then they were conquered by Napoleon, and once again, the English were there to save them. But soon, the golden years were behind, and the Portuguese Empire began to decay, which led to the fall of the monarchy and to the implementation of the Republic. Meanwhile, they saw the rise of Antonio Salazar, who brought Portugal into a period of dictatorship, oppression, and media censorship. But in 1974, notice that's very late, Portugal had a peaceful revolution known as the Coronation Revolution. It's a really cool historic event, you should check it out. But this Coronation Revolution removed radicals from power with only 4 gunshots. This opened the door to bigger and better things in Portugal's interest in the European Union, sending them back into a period of economic prosperity. So Portugal is a young democracy, and I've spoken to a couple of Portuguese, and I've learned that the Portuguese have had to deal and are still actually dealing with a lot of frustration because they haven't really made up with their colonial past. Meanwhile, they actually went from being emperors and maybe one of the leading in most important countries in Europe to losing everything, and in modern times becoming one of the slowest developing countries in Europe. So they had to start from scratch with rebuilding themselves. A week ago, I visited the town Sintra with a couple of friends, and there we visited one of the Muslim castles. Recently, I interviewed the social psychologist Shenia Karlsson. I hope you've read the article, it's on the website. She was a psychologist who was turned down because of the fact that she's black. So she took matters into her own hands and created the platform Papo Preta, which means black female talk or black female chat in Portuguese. Papo Preta is a therapeutic project focused on the health and well-being of black women. It also consists of a branch that educates practicing psychologists in the methodology for treating racism that Shenia Karlsson and the co-founder Claudina Osorio created from scratch, because that was actually missing from the classic discipline of psychology. The methodology consists of, among other things, the importance of incorporating black history in the psychological treatment of black women and broadening the representation of black women in social culture. It's a really interesting piece, if I can say so myself, so make sure you read it if you haven't already. I met her at an event arranged by another very inspiring woman, Miriam Taylor. I'm hoping to get an interview with her. The event was a panel discussion about the Me Too movement and why it wasn't a big thing here in Portugal, because it wasn't, and why it obviously is important to be part of these revolutionary wars of our time. New topic. Last Friday was a national holiday here, so my friends and I decided to travel to Lagos in Algarve, in the south region. It was an adventure, to say the least. We thought we had planned everything very thoroughly. We rented 2 cars to fit the 7 of us, but when we arrived to claim the cars, we discovered that it was going to cost us double the amount that we were told, so we cancelled the car rental plan and decided to go by bus. Once we arrived to the bus station, there were no seats left on the bus, so we split up. Miriam, Juliet and I went to my place, we had dinner, and slept to get up early next morning to hitchhike to Lagos. It was my first time hitchhiking, and it was really cool. Oh yeah, and we slept on the beach.
How much did you? We just paid €10 to be free from the car. Sometimes you need to pay.
But the wine is really good though.
Yeah.
I mean,
you would recommend it?
And we have darts. And
I feel like it's like
wine
the 10
is
euros
actually
you
like a
paid,
6-year
earlier
wine,
history
but it was
times
in
for the church, you know?
sale for like
To
$2.
get free from sorrows and free from anything
sin.
bad. Yeah.
paid for our sins before the trip. So now it's okay to sin as much
No,
as
This
you
is
want.
an experience, gonna be a shameful story. It's gonna be great. But should we start walking? I don't know. I have a plastic one. I'm sorry. But I'll get a wooden one.
Shame on you!
I'm vegetarian though. Okay. But like this is gonna be okay, I think.
Yeah, but where's here a station?
Like at the cross.
This last week I've had an exam and a lot of group assignments for uni, so the week has pretty much consisted of studying and really good Indian food. If you ever visit Lisbon, you will want to visit the restaurant Natarai Tandoori in Rossio. I'll put the link in the description box, and this is not a paid collaboration. I just really want to recommend this place because the food is amazing. For the coming week, once again, I'm going to focus on finding interesting women to feature in the magazine. Obrigado everyone for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to give a thumbs up and leave a comment. See you guys in the next episode.